let's talk about the cult doubling down. Because I know that I'm showing you guys where they're leaving and where there's cracks and there's fractures, but there are people that are doubling down. And what does that mean? Well, usually in cults, doubling down is part of the process of leaving. Because when those cracks start to happen, it's like when you get a cut and there's a wound and the body tries to compensate and kind of cover over that, or any kind of reaction to a virus, right? It comes in and tries to deal with it. Well, that's what doubling down is. There's been a crack, there's been a doubt that you can't go back from. But the brain is going to fight it like it's a virus. And so it's going to come in and it's going to get loud and it's going to say, yeah, but this. And the bottom line it will always go to is, yeah, but we couldn't have voted for the left because they're evil and they're dangerous and they want to hurt us. And they're scary and they're satanic, right? And they're baby schmillers and all that stuff. So the brain is always going to default to that as the last thing that they can cling to stand by. And that is why it is so critical that even if you aren't at a place where you can be kind or be gracious with them, please be quiet. Because the more that they can point to us as the problem, the more that they can keep saying, see, they're scary. Look, I got attacked today. Look, they called me a name here. Look, they said I'm stupid here. All that stuff, it just keeps them locked into the doubling down. Because it is wild to me that for months now, they're not happy with what's going on. But then they go to, but we had no other choice. We can't vote with the Democrats. They are evil. So as bad as it is over here, they are evil. That's why they're stuck. It's simply that. It's the programming that we are dangerous, we are hateful, we hate them. Okay. That's not a man snoring. That is my dog, the snorer in chief. I'll put her picture here at the end. She saves this for the videos. So she's the star. Okay, so that is why it is so critical. I want all of their focus to be going inward and talking amongst themselves and not focusing on the out. Like if they're talking to you, be gracious, be grateful, because that has to start breaking down their programming. That is how I left the cult, is how people on the outside engaged me, and they were nothing like what I was taught they were. It is critical. If you say you want them to move through faster, that's your job. If you don't want to do that and you can't just be quiet, then I don't believe you want them to leave. I think you just like drama at this point. Okay. The other reason they double down is because even if they're feeling okay about what's going on, there's a lot of people around the perimeters that are not. There's people in their families that are saying something's wrong. And so they are going to double down to try and quiet down everyone else because it makes them nervous. So they're trying to quiet them down so that they feel quieted down, right? So that they feel like they can keep control of a sinking ship. I've seen a lot of the people in the comments, that are saying, I've been talking to my family that I felt uneasy about everything. And some of them getting shunned already. Some of them are getting told to stop thinking that way, that the devil is making them think that way. And it doesn't matter because we still can't vote left. So we just have to do this. So, it really is up to us to help break that apart. My mom was going to vote for Trump, her third term, the third time this last year. This is what she was doing yesterday. She voted blue for the first time in her life in November because I went back to talking to her because I hadn't talked to her in a long time because I got really sick after COVID. And she was posting election stuff and stuff about COVID, even though she saw horrible things happen to me and my sister and my dad and family members from COVID. And she was just stuck in the propaganda. But I just couldn't let her do it. I wanted to go check the temperature, and then I just spent time with her. I acted like I didn't know who she voted for and just talked general things and my feelings and shared my heart and my concerns about people. And then talked kind of like, oh, it's just weird when people act culty, and wear all things decked out like their leader and stuff. Isn't that weird? And then eventually it got to where like she didn't want to be one of them because of the way I talk, but she never felt threatened because I didn't say, well, you, right? And I always owned my side of the street. So I would say, I don't like that Biden did this, or I hope this politician runs, but not this one because they do these things. And every time I would hold my side to account, her eyes would go because she was sure it was all her fault or all that side's fault and none of our fault. And I'm like, oh no, it's both sides. Both sides got us into this mess. It's going to take both sides to get us out, right? They feel safe when you say that. If you won't say that and you just point to them, like yesterday, I had someone say, I feel scolded when you talk because this isn't our fault, it's their fault. Oh no, this is a joint effort. Absolutely. And if you can't see that, you've got to self-reflect, right? This is how Germany got theirs because they had a week left. They had infighting. We have purity culture over here. We have tried to woke people into like beating them awake instead of having conversations the way that people do. Like we've become our own church, right? I feel nervous to talk on here sometimes being on the left. I never felt that on the right, but I do over here. I get anxious because someone's going to come in and scream at me about my tone or the way I said something or that I got something wrong or you don't know enough yet, so you should shut up. Like, you know, I'm out here sticking my neck out every day and I still get like someone's policing me. And people don't like that. It makes them uncomfortable. They don't feel like they can be themselves. And there's got to be better ways to ease them into these conversations and teach them because I don't feel like they get taught. They just get called names and attacked. So, and the way that we have treated white men, we've just been like, F them, we don't care, they should learn themselves. Like, you can't do that and win. You can't do that and keep allies. And this side has just acted like it's not our problem. It is our problem. And I take responsibility. Our leaders take AIPAC money too. Our leaders have not done things that they were supposed to do. So I own the whole thing. And then that makes them feel safe and they can have a conversation with me because I don't look biased. And I'm not. Like I'll call on both sides. I don't care. So anyway, the doubling down. That's what it is. It's a fear. And last thing I'm going to say is, you know, couples, when they suddenly go, oh my God, we're more in love than ever. We went on a second honeymoon or we're going to renew our vows. And everybody's like, what the F? It just feels off like this proclamation of something. Like when they go, Trump is the best ever. Like, I don't know, and they keep doing it. No one asked. So somehow they're feeling challenged in their brain about it. And so that's why they keep re-announcing it, re-putting it out there. It's like those couples trying to convince everyone they're in love. And then in 6 weeks, they're filing for divorce. It's like that. It's very common among cult members. I doubled down a couple times trying to re-immerse myself, re-convince myself. And if anyone around me got nervous, I doubled down again, trying to calm them too. So it's all very normal. It's all very frustrating. Okay, but we know what we can do to help, and that is either be quiet or be kind, ask questions, own our side of the street to make people feel safe, and to be objective about how we really need to move forward as a country.